You still don't get it, do you? You still believe that words mean something. You think that apologies, explanations, and promises matter. But let me tell you, they don't. You sit there, drowning in the weight of their words. Words they throw at you like daggers. Words that build you up only to tear you down. You keep clinging to the hope that if you just say the right thing, explain yourself enough, they'll understand. They won't. They never will. Here's the truth. Words are cheap. They cost nothing. They fly into the wind and vanish the moment they leave someone's mouth. But silence is something else. Silence is a storm. It doesn't beg, doesn't justify, doesn't ask for permission. Silence is power. They spoke about you, didn't they? Twisted your name, twisted your life into a topic for their gossip. They loved it, didn't they? Loved the sound of their own voices, tearing you apart, and you thought you had to answer. You thought that if you just spoke louder, clearer, with more passion, they'd hear you. They won't. You could shout until you lose your voice, spill your heart out, and they'll still twist your words. That's how they operate. They don't listen to understand. They listen to respond. They don't care about your pain. They care about the drama it creates. You've been feeding them, giving them your energy, your emotions, your real self, like a puppet playing the part they've written for you. But it stops here. This is where you take back the script. The moment you go silent, that's when the real fear sets in. Because people expect a reaction. They expect rage, tears, explanations. But when you refuse to react, when you give them nothing, that's when they panic. They realize they have no control over you anymore. You've been feeding them, giving them your energy, your emotions, your real self, like a puppet playing the part they've written for you. But it stops here. This is where you take back the script. The moment you go silent, that's when the real fear sets in. Because people expect a reaction. They expect rage, tears, explanations. But when you refuse to react, when you give them nothing, that's when they panic. They realize they have no control over you anymore. Think about it. What's scarier? Someone screaming in anger or someone walking away without a word? The one who walks away always wins. Silence is unpredictable. It's a statement. It's a weapon sharper than any insult, stronger than any argument. Silence is a fortress, unbreakable, impenetrable, and it drives them mad. They'll talk, they'll wonder, they'll try to drag you back into the noise, bait you into speaking. But when you refuse, when you let the silence settle, they lose. You don't owe anyone your voice, your explanation, or your emotions. You owe yourself peace. You owe yourself strength. You owe yourself the dignity of silence, the wisdom to know when words are useless. Because the people who truly understand you won't need an explanation, and those who demand one don't deserve it. So let them talk, let them whisper, let them scream your name into the wind, and give them nothing. Here's the thing about the loudest people. They're usually the weakest. They fill the air with noise, with their so-called wisdom, their opinions, their drama. But that's because they're afraid of silence. Silence forces them to face themselves, and most people don't like what they see. That's why they talk. They need the noise to distract them from their own emptiness. You don't need their approval, their validation, or their words. Have you ever heard someone say the truth hurts? That's a lie. Truth doesn't hurt. It kills. It kills illusions. It kills lies. And it kills weak minds that hide behind them. That's why people hate the truth. That's why they attack those who speak it. Deep down, they know they've built their lives on fragile foundations, on borrowed opinions, on words that mean nothing. And when you stop playing their game, when you stop explaining yourself, their world shakes. People love to judge. They love to feel superior. But watch what happens when you take away their audience, when you refuse to react. They'll burn out. They'll turn on themselves. They'll question everything because without your reaction, they're left with their own thoughts. And that's their worst nightmare. So let them talk. Let them lie, twist the truth, rewrite the past. Let them say whatever makes them feel powerful. And then go silent. Not because you're weak, not because you're afraid, but because their words don't matter. They never did. Words don't change reality. Actions do. Strength does. Silence does. When you embrace silence, that's when you win. Not by proving them wrong, not by defending yourself, not by explaining your side of the story, but by refusing to play their game at all. Because people don't remember words, they remember presence. They remember the ones who walked away without a word, who didn't beg, who didn't break. They remember the silence that echoed louder than any argument. The silence that said, "I don't owe you an explanation. I don't owe you my time. I don't owe you anything. If you want control, if you want power, master your silence. Master the ability to walk away, to disappear from their games, to let them drown in the noise of their own voices. Because the moment you realize their words mean nothing, that's the moment you become untouchable. Let's talk about control, because that's really what this is about. They want it. They crave it. They want control over your thoughts, your emotions, your very identity. The easiest way to control someone is through words, manipulation, guilt. They want you to explain yourself, to defend yourself, to justify your existence. But it only works if you let it. It only works if you react, if you care. The second you stop reacting, that's when the tables turn. Nothing scares a manipulator more than losing their grip. Nothing terrifies a liar more than someone who won't argue. Nothing shakes a bully more than a target who doesn't flinch. That's who you need to be. The one who doesn't flinch, the one who doesn't react, the one who doesn't play their game. When you reach that level of silence, that's when you become unstoppable. They'll call you cold, heartless, arrogant. They'll say you've changed. Let them scream it to the world. Because the truth is, you've learned that your peace is worth more than their opinions. Your energy is worth more than their validation. Your silence is worth more than their noise. And when they realize they can't break you, when they see that their words bounce off you, that's when they fear you. That's when they wish they were you. Because deep down, everyone wants what they can't have. Silence. True, controlled, unshakable silence. That's the rarest power in the world. Let that sink in. And when you're ready, show them what silence can do. People act like they care, until caring requires effort. Until it means listening, actually listening, not just waiting for their turn to speak. They love to pretend, to act concerned, to say the right words. But when you really need them, when the weight of the world is crushing you, when you're screaming inside, when you need someone just to understand, silence. Not the kind you control, the kind that reminds you how alone you are, the kind that makes you realize that most of them were never really there. They were just spectators, waiting for the next show, waiting to see if you'd break. And when you do, oh, that's when the words come back. Not to help, but to tear you down even further. They'll talk about how you failed, how you weren't strong enough, how you were too emotional, too weak, too different. They'll dissect your pain like it's just a conversation piece, something to gossip about over their empty lives. And you'll sit there, wondering how they could be so heartless, wondering if maybe just maybe, you deserved it. You didn't. Let's get that straight. You didn't deserve it. You didn't deserve the betrayal, the lies, the backstabbing. You didn't deserve the way they twisted your words, the way they used your kindness against you, the way they made you feel like you were nothing. But here's the thing. If you keep giving them access to your emotions, if you keep explaining yourself, if you keep trying to make them see the truth, you're letting them win. And that's on you, because at some point, you have to stop expecting them to understand. You have to stop expecting decency from people who thrive on chaos. You have to stop looking for honesty in people who survive on lies. You have to stop begging for loyalty from people who wouldn't even pick you up if you were bleeding in the street. You owe them nothing. Nothing. Not an explanation. Not an apology. Not another second of your energy. And that's where silence comes in. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not surrender. Silence is the highest form of control. It's the refusal to engage, the refusal to entertain, the refusal to give them what they want. They want you to react. They want you to get angry, to break, to scream. They want you to beg for clarity, for justice, for closure. But the moment you go silent, when you stop feeding them, that's when they start losing their minds, because silence leaves them alone with their own demons. And here's something about people who love to tear others down. They don't know how to handle silence. They need the noise. They need the chaos. They need to feel in control. And when you take that away from them, when you leave them with nothing but their own thoughts, that's when they start to self-destruct. People are addicted to drama. They're addicted to the sound of their own voices, their own twisted narratives, their own pathetic sense of importance. But when you stop playing the game, when you stop feeding their addiction, when you stop reacting, they turn on themselves. They start questioning their own lies. They start wondering why you're so calm. They start panicking. Because if you're not defending yourself, if you're not explaining yourself, if you're not breaking down, then maybe, just maybe, everything they've been telling themselves about you is a lie. And that terrifies them. Because the only thing more powerful than words is silence. You want revenge? You think you need to get back at them? You don't. The best revenge isn't anger. It isn't hatred. It isn't proving them wrong. It's indifference. It's moving forward like they never existed. It's showing them that they were never important enough to break you. It's making them realize, too late, that they lost someone irreplaceable. The truth is, they will search for you in everyone they meet. They'll search for someone who cares like you did, someone who listens like you did, someone who forgives like you did. But they'll never find it, because people like you, people who give, who feel, who try, don't come around twice. And when the noise dies down, when the distractions fade, when they're left alone with their own emptiness, that's when it will hit them. That's when silence will finally speak louder than any words ever could. More painful than any insult. More final than any goodbye. And that will be their regret. You know what they fear the most? It's not your anger. It's not your pain. It's not even your success. It's your silence. Because when you stop talking, when you stop reacting, when you stop playing the part they assigned you, they lose control. And people hate losing control. They need you to fight back. They need you to explain, to defend, to cry, to beg. Because as long as you're doing that, they still have power over you. They still have a hold on your emotions, on your energy, on your mind. But the second you stop, the second you let go, that's when they panic. That's when they scramble to pull you back into the noise. You've seen it before. The moment you stop responding, the moment you withdraw, the moment you refuse to give them what they crave, they come crawling. First, they'll pretend they never hurt you. They'll act like nothing happened, like you're overreacting. When that doesn't work, the insults come. They'll call you cold, heartless, arrogant. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you're selfish, that you don't care. Let them. Because the truth is, you finally learned something. You learned that real loyalty doesn't need a wake-up call. Real love doesn't need a second chance. Real people, they don't need to lose you to appreciate you. So let them talk. Let them regret. Let them rewrite history in their heads. Let them convince themselves that they were the victims. You don't owe them a response. You don't owe them anything. And that is your victory. The greatest revenge? It's not anger. It's not proving them wrong. It's indifference. It's moving on. It's walking away. And when you do, that silence will be the loudest message they've ever heard.